years ago did Jonathan Livingston Seagull come out? That was when I was a kid, basically, right?
Yeah.
But
me too. I had to read it in high school.
You had to read it in high school, and then years later we had. We did not have an interview with Richard Bach. What am I thinking? I must have watched an interview with Richard Bach. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I remember him saying that he had written Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and then basically was out camping or something, was walking around and wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to his life. It must be nice to be able to do that. And his publisher was going nuts trying to get a hold of him. Of course, back then we had no cell phones, and there was no other way to get in touch with people who were out of touch. But anyway, the publisher was trying to get a hold of him because the book was selling very, very well. Our next guest, it says here, got a call while he was sleep deprived and on the road. He checked his call log and found out that he had a winning entry in the Writers of the Future Award. We've been talking about this before, this contest, but I love this contest because this is, we have some really talented people who are at different points in their careers. Sometimes they're at the beginning of their careers. Sometimes they are well established in their household names. But I think the common denominator is they all have a talent for the written word. Mm-hmm. Or in some cases, like with this contest, also illustrators is who we've talked to. But right now we've got another guy who can put words together. It's amazing. There's only 26 letters in the alphabet.
Yeah, it is.
Right, but they can make so much out of those 26 words and so differently. It's amazing how they can craft so many different things. Christoph Weber is, in addition to being a talented author, he's a certified arborist, a firefighter in the U.S. Forest Service and Bureau of Land Management, hotshot crews. Those guys do dangerous work.
Yes.
He's a quarterly winner of the preliminary L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Award for the 2016 Volume 32, which I guess isn't out yet, right?
Right, it's coming out in 2016.
The short story that launched him into the career he's probably been wanting for a while is called Mobius, and he's on the phone, and I think he's out on the West Coast because I heard him say to you it was 8:10 or something like that, right?
Yes.
So he must be on the West Coast. Good morning, Christoph. How are you?
Good morning, Larry and Robin. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
Reno, Nevada.
Oh, Reno.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Side of the country.
In Reno.
So it's still dark there, isn't it? Tonight's the longest night of the year, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just it's lightening up here. It's a little earlier than you guys.
Mobius has an umlaut over the O. How do you pronounce it?
Mobius.
Oh, Mobius.
Yeah.
Now, where does that come from? Where does that name come from?
So the name is from it's a kind of a mathematician found that there is a three-dimensional object, which is essentially if you take a strip of paper and you make a loop and you tape it together, it has two sides, right? One on the inside and one on the outside.
Right.
Now, if you take that strip before you roll it into a circle and you put a half twist in it and then you tape it together, it becomes a two-dimensional object. It only has one side. It sounds bizarre, but you can actually do this at home, and if you look up like Mobius strips, how to make one, you can do this, and you can make a paper object that becomes two-dimensional. It's kind of bizarre, but
really,
right? Because you flip it.
Yeah,
you flip it, and it looks like one side the whole time. It's so cool. It never
exactly.
ends.
And if you had an ant crawling along it, like if you had an ant crawling along a normal ring, it would just crawl along the inside the whole time. On a Mobius ring, it'll alternate from the inside to the outside because truly there is only one side. There is no inside and outside. It's kind of has some strange properties.
I see.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, all
it's
right.
cool.
Oh, wow. Okay, and then you took that idea and you expanded on that to write the story.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, the title actually came later, but it tied in with what I was writing really well, which was it was a story essentially about a drug that stops the aging process and allows people to live for 1,000+ years. And the main question of the story is it forces the reader to think, would you take it, and would you want others to have access to it? And
yeah, really.
So I guess I could ask you guys
would we take it?
Yeah, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, do we look old? I mean, the whole life. Like, do we get to be 80 and we stay old all the way till 1,000?
Okay, so say in this story it could be when you take it. So if you chose to take it at your age now, you would live for 1,000 years
At the age of 60.
At the biological age that you're at now.
Which is 60. Okay, I can handle that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mentally, I don't feel 60.
Yeah.
I feel 17.
Well, we'll just have plastic surgery done. We'll be good.
But there's a hint in aging. I always think there's a hint because a dog gets old in 15 years. Mm-hmm. So why does it get old so fast? I mean, why
Times 7.
Why don't we get old that fast? I'm glad we don't, but
Right. I mean, it's fascinating. And then there are at least a couple species that I know of that don't age at all. I didn't realize this till I was doing some research.
yes,
on the story.
the jellyfish never ages.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The immortal jellyfish and the hydra, they don't age, and it's kind of mind-boggling because you assume that death is a part of life, but that's not really the case in every species. I mean, they do die by predation and other things, but
Well, that's the thing.
as far as old age, it doesn't happen.
And that's part of my answer too. If I had a pill that could let me live to be 1,000, I'd probably live to be 81 and get hit by a truck.
Yeah, there's no guarantee about the outside force.
Yeah, that's such is life, right?
Or ISIS would take over, and that'd be the end of me. Cut my hill.
Yeah.
I mean, this is exciting news. So you were driving on the road. It says here, and so why were you sleep deprived?
Oh, I was just doing a little work trip. I was down in the redwoods taking. I was basically driving for a bike trip, and then just taking some people to walk through the redwoods and things. But it was just busy. I was helping. I was working, and so.
So how did you find out about this contest?
I found out through Orson Scott Card's had a book, the author of Ender's Game, and he had a book about writing that I was reading, and he had mentioned the contest as being just the real deal as far as contests go, where there's no entry fee. They only consider authors who've professionally published fewer than 4 short stories or 1 novel. So it's just a great opportunity for people like me who are really passionate about writing.
That is cool. It's
hard to break into the field, and so this gives them an opportunity, and it comes with prize money, publication, a trip to Hollywood.
To Hollywood. Now, and all the hoopla right now over Star Wars is right around that very area that you'll be going to.
Yeah.
The theater that you go to for the award ceremony is not far from the Chinese theater, right? It's real close.
I'm not sure. I haven't been there. I know it's at I think it's the Wilshire Ebell, but I'm not familiar with LA, so I'm not sure.
I really enjoy going to your website because you've got some pretty cool banter going back and forth on the blog postings that are there.
Oh, thanks for looking at that. Yeah.
It shows what kind of personality you have. I mean, it's really, really wonderful that you have that kind of rapport with people that leave their blog posts, and they're humorous.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I love about writing, too, is that, with a story like this with Mobius, it makes people think, and that you get their opinions, because, honestly, you guys were both pretty quick yeses to that question of taking that drug, but people that read this story are really split on it. Some of them are very, strongly opposed to having a drug that would stop aging because they think, that it's unnatural, that it'll cause problems with overpopulation.
Oh, okay.
And it's really interesting just to see the different opinions on this.
But there's a certain part of that plays a role, I think, in our answer, and that is that if we look at when your joy comes from giving, you can never be disappointed, and so if we just love what we do, and I don't know that the radio show is giving completely. I mean, it's a little giving, but I mean, we like to do things. You like to get things done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And just think how much you could get done if you live for 1,000 years. I don't know if anybody would like it, but it would be done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many books could you write if you lived to 1,000? You could write so many books.
Yeah, you could write a lot of songs. But what you're saying in Mobius and about how people are going back and forth about not wanting it or are wanting it throughout the decades, God really made aging gracefully more possible, because back in the 1800s, people would be old at 40 and they die. They wouldn't have, any kind of age on them. Very rarely did people live after 40. And then with all the technology advancements and things like that, the age gradually started getting later in years.
Right. And there's actually, there's already basically an anti-aging drug out that they're putting into to human trials soon. It's a diabetes drug, actually, but they found that it was helping patients live not only longer than diabetes patients, but longer than healthy controls. And if it has,
oh, really?
They did a trial in worms, and it made them live 40% longer. So if it has the same effect in humans, and the trials start next year, we could have people living well past 120 years. So this isn't really science fiction anymore. I mean,
yeah, really.
There's one of the leading researchers in this area of basically defeating aging has said that the first person to live to 1,000 has already been born, because his idea is that once these drugs, like this diabetes drug, metformin, if they can make people live 30 years longer, that extra time will buy them until the next advance that gives them another breakthrough that adds 30 to 50 years.
It could be all of us.
Yeah, so that could be, this is really not as much science fiction as it sounds. This is potentially on the cusp.
Christoph, hold on. We got to take a little break. We'll be right back.
Sure, thank you.
Where's my button? Here's it.
The weather is brought to you by MyFWC.com. Safe boating is no accident. It will be more humid this afternoon with a blend of clouds and sunshine. Expect a shower in spots, high 79 to 83. Considerably cloudy and warm tonight, low 68 to 70. Cloudy with showers and thunderstorms on Tuesday, 81 to 83. And Wednesday, mostly cloudy, warm and muggy, high 82 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Jeremy Pearson.
Put your money to work. Florida Credit Union has a money market special, 1% APY until December 31st, 2016. That's right, through December 31st, 2016. $50,000 minimum balance to open and earn dividends. On January 1st, 2017, the account reverts back to a normal account at current rates. Federally insured by the NCUA, Florida Credit Union. Enriching people every day. Visit one of Florida Credit Union's convenient locations today or their website, www.flcu.org.
What are the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking? Will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
It's the end of the fiscal year, and that means budget cuts and number crunching. Now's the time of the year you're evaluating your expenses, planning your budget, and finding ways to save money and increase efficiency to maximize profits. Dex Imaging understands and delivers. Call Dex Imaging today for a free document management evaluation. Cutting your office expenses is as easy as calling Dex Imaging, 352-266-0333. Start saving money today and increase your bottom line with Dex Imaging. Printers, copiers, and fax machines that increase office productivity and save you money. No one understands your bottom line better. Call Dex Imaging today, 352-266-0333, or check them out on the web at deximaging.com. That's DEXimaging.com. Or call 352-266-0333 for your free document management evaluation today.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
All right, 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Christoph Weber is on the phone. His book is called Mobius. I think you say the O like a right? I never knew how to read umlauts. Umlaut is one of those.
German.
Yeah, it's like a German thing, right?
Yeah.
Christoph, thank you for being on. You're in Nevada, and you're the first place winner, right?
I was third place in my quarter.
Third place in your quarter.
Yeah.
So they do 4 of these a year?
Yeah, so they do 4 quarters, 3 winners a year, or 3 winners a quarter, and then so 12 total winners that go down to Hollywood in April.
And has it changed your? How do I say this? What you're working on as an author, does it change that at all, or has it changed it yet? Have you had calls from publishers, that kind of thing?
No, I've had some. I've had a bit of interest from agency representation, which has been really neat. But it's all, I mean, I think I'm still kind of on the same page. I'm just trying to keep the word count up and keep writing stories, what I like to do. But not that much has changed.
I like the fact that you are an arborist, because it seems like you are one with nature, and you're able to, whatever it is you're doing with the plants and the trees and things, your creative juices are flowing in that direction, but also in the direction of writing and your different scenarios you want to put down on paper.
Yeah, it's great. I find that I draw a lot of inspiration from, not only just being in nature, but the science of plants and trees and just science in general. I mean, I write mostly science fiction, and so just being exposed to botany and, plant science and arboriculture is, I mean, there's so many fascinating things that are coming out that we're learning about plants, that communication between plants and things that are, have been suspected for a while, but now we're actually finding evidence for. It's just great fodder for writing.
In the Bible, it talks about people who live to be 800 years old. I'm not that good at this. I think Noah and Moses, some of those early Bible guys,
Abraham.
right? Yeah, they lived to be very old, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, I don't know how old. But in botany, wasn't there a theory at one time that there was the oxygen level was higher on the planet, and that's why people lived longer? That's why we have trees that were around 2,000 years ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that is, it was definitely at one point from the data that I've looked at, and that was one of the reasons they think that insects could have grown so large. I mean, when you had dragonflies with, I'm not sure the exact number, but I think it's between like 4 and 6 foot wingspans, like something crazy that we just don't have anymore. The interesting thing is that actually, carbon dioxide is beneficial for a lot of plants. So that's actually, it helps a lot of plants grow faster. So it has kind of the reverse effect on that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I wasn't thinking, but if the plants were more plentiful back then that means the oxygen might have been more plentiful, and while it might have been not so good for the plants, maybe it was really good for the animals and humans.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's absolutely true. I think it probably formed a sort of balance when because they produce oxygen, obviously, which over time can if it builds up, isn't as beneficial for them. But I think these things go in kind of cycles.
A lot of science fiction, future fiction, is about technology, and I guess pharmaceuticals is a form of technology. But I don't know that I've ever spoken to anybody I mean, yours is a really different look at what the future might bring. It's not about a gadget.
No, it's not. It's I mean, yeah, you're right. It is a form of technology, but I mean, it's essentially it's a story about almost like immortality, which is a trope of science fiction. But I think that now with medical breakthroughs and the research that's coming out, we're on the cusp of it not really being science fiction anymore. And so I kind of wanted to write a story that may force me and force other people to think about what they are going to do when this becomes available, because it's it's going to be a big societal question. Do we want this? It's going to create an aging population, which we're already are dealing with a little bit. But I mean, imagine today we're dealing it with the average age being 80 years old.
Right.
Imagine it when it's 1,000 years old. I mean, this is a big change.
So let me ask you something about you as a writer, because it sounds like you like toying with us to play with our how we think about our own lives, and maybe by doing that you're superimposing a message of some sort in there. Is that the way you write? It's kind of very deep in a way that you wouldn't expect.
Well, thank you first of all, but I don't really, especially with this story, I don't force a message. I don't actually. I leave the ending actually a little bit open-ended in a way that I think forces the reader to come up with their own conclusion. So there's two characters in it. One who is for this research and one who is vehemently against it, who is a detective for a group called Gene Crime Termination Authority, which is basically trying to shut down all of this research. and they they clash and they come head to head and they have a discussion about this, basically a life and death discussion about it. And in the end, I leave it open-ended, so I don't force my view. I changed my view as when I wrote this story, but I don't say what I think in this story because I want the reader to think about it for themselves, because they're going to have to do that, potentially within our lifetime.
And that's what's amazing about this, is that when you write that way, you have to take into account that once the story or the book is out and published, maybe whatever issue you're addressing there has been brought into the open, and that has been solved, and there's been something new. So that has to be the deadlines of writing have to be pretty much well thought out on your part, because you never know, things might change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of the fun of it, that makes it interesting.
So your story will be in. Let me make sure I always say this. The name of the book wrong. The Writers of the Future. Wait, what is it called again, Rob?
Volume 32.
Volume 32.
Released in May of 2016.
Oh, okay. And do you have an illustrator hooked up with you yet?
So I will. I haven't met them yet, because the sister contest of Writers of the Future is Illustrators of the Future, and so they have 12 winners for that, and they'll pair me up with one of them, and they'll do an illustration for my story, which I am really excited to see in person. But yeah, so that's and yeah, like you said, May 2016, and it'll be available through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other booksellers at that time.
I wonder who the recipients will be of the forever pill. Will it be the good guys or the bad guys?
Oh, yeah. Gosh.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, is who gets it, too. That's one of the things that, I bring up in the story is will you end up with, if it's a very expensive treatment, you might end up with a class of wealthy, basically immortal, almost like gods, ruling over those who are unable to afford it.
Yeah.
And it could create sort of a de facto.
Yeah, that'll be me. I'll be the guy who can't afford it. I didn't pay my Obamacare.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't get the pill. Christoph, you are. I just saw a photo of you in a fire where you're fighting a fire in the woods, and you're smiling. I think, wow, you're a good-looking guy, by the way. Christoph, thank you for being on the air with us. The book comes out in when, Robin?
May of 2016.
May. And for writers, write this down. Look into this. If you ever have wanted, if you've got your heart set on the fact that you're going to be a writer of fiction anyway, science fiction, the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Award is a really great contest. It costs nothing, and they will give you feedback that even if you don't win, you will know why. You'll get a little bit of guidance on how to perhaps become a better writer. Christoph, it sounds like you've mastered it. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today. And be careful out there.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Be careful out there, and be careful with your Christmas trees. He's an arborist. You could be careful with your trees. All right, thank you, Christoph. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh.
Today, I'm suspending my campaign for president.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham making that announcement this morning, saying he'd run a campaign we can be proud of. Graham based his White House bid on national security.
I'm suspending my campaign, but never my commitment to achieving security through strength for the American people.
Graham's poll numbers never went beyond the single digits. His departure now leaves 13 Republicans still in the 2016 race. Half a dozen NATO troops are killed in Afghanistan when their patrol comes under attack.
Responsibility for the attack quickly claimed by the Taliban. NATO saying the soldiers died in a suicide bombing close to Bagram Airfield, the largest US military facility in Afghanistan, although the nationalities of those killed haven't been confirmed.
Fox's Simon Owen. Stocks start Christmas week trading higher. U.S. crude oil dips below